How's it going? I thought I'd do one on, what's the title today? Sexist. Being sexist. I thought that was an interesting topic. So I read one today on, what was it? Oh yeah, is when you get married, when the woman gets married, carrying on the male's last name, is that sexist? I guess it is. Is it sexist if we carry on our last names based on our gender, on the male or the female? I think it's pretty, it has to be. That's what sexist means. Actually, let's look it up. What does sexist mean in the dictionary? Dictionary here. Sexist. Relating to or characterized by prejudice. Characterized by prejudice, stereotyping, or discriminating. On the basis of sex. Sexist, discriminating, or prejudiced. Are we prejudiced because we have, or discriminating against because of your gender? Is it sexist? Yes, it's I guess it's not really the sexist bit we're talking about. It's more the question probably is more, is it a problem? Well, I guess if you, how do we work this out? If we go, we've got a, what's in a name? Let's start with the name. In my opinion, the name is to identify. Don't know if that was sexist. Just block my wife off. So anyway, so the name. So our name with a, so the name is just to identify who you are, right? So how else would we identify each other? A name is a reasonable point to identify you. I think that's the reasonable purpose of it, is so that I can communicate who, with a bit more specific who you are. So if I'm identified as bigSHow, the God, you would go, okay, that narrows it down to that person. There could be two of yous. So if you have, your name is John, and there's 10 Johns, 5 Johns, 6 Johns, it hasn't helped a lot. So then we tag on a piece, John, and then his last name. That narrows it down some more. So you've got 2 identification tags. Okay. You go John the printer, John the plumber. So in my opinion, the name is really just to identify who the hell it is I'm talking about, or who it is that are in a crowd who you want to talk to, or as a reference of trying to find someone by the name of such and such, right? So that's cool. So we have the name, and then we have how we come about being named. So in the present form, most people don't choose their name. That's interesting, isn't it? So my parents chose my name. I think that's for most people. Would have the parents choose their name. You can have societies where an environment, you know, we're under a culture now, or a society, established society, which uses the name to record our name and to associate it with everything, like identification. So we use it for identification purposes. It's not the only way of identifying you, but it's a pretty reasonable one. So that was it. So it's identification purposes. And then it can be attached to family lineage based on your last name. Which is where the question arose, is it sexist that my wife has my last name? Is it sexist? And is it prejudges? It's tricky. I'll say this, it's a choice. Maybe it wasn't a choice for some societies, but in the present one, you can choose. Can I change my name? Yeah, I can change mine too. So we go, is it sexist? But you can choose whether you do it or not. So sexist requires that you have a choice of prejudice, stereotyping, discriminating. Well, you've been discriminating or prejudiced or stereotyped. So those three things, you have a choice whether to call you. My wife chose to use my last name or not. She can leave it the same way or use it. So I'm not sure that's sexist. Yet if it's always the male's last name that we take, and most of the time, then that is sexist. But it has to be something. So that brings us back to the other one, is there a problem with that? Well, it has to be one or the other. So if we flipped it and we always used the woman's last name, would we be saying it's sexist? It's either yes or no. Yes, that is sexist, or no, it's not. If I have the choice. So if you have a choice, what's your problem? The problem is there's a majority that already have it, that already think this way. That's fair. And am I predispositioned because I'm a male? So I'm already, it seems more normal to me. That's interesting. Would I change? So my wife changed her name to my last name. As I said, it was her choice. She chose to. It made no difference to me. And she did. She went through the process. Had to change it. Wasn't like, yeah, just call me wife. You got to change all your naming, so it's a bit of a process. So she did it. Would I change my name to her last name? Probably not. And the reason for that is because it feels unnormal to me and I've been brought up this way. And this is the way that is. That's interesting. Because we can challenge that. That doesn't mean it has to stay that way as a choice. So if it's still a choice, then I would choose to change mine. No, it's actually the same. Why don't I want to change mine? Because I don't need to. So if all my kids now were called their mother's maiden name, in actual fact, I have one that has done that. My daughter has her mother's last name. Hey. So is that sexist? Then it's not sexist, because there are people that have their mother's last name. So when you have a choice, it's like being racist. Racist isn't a choice. It's only racist when you don't have a choice. Is that a better way to describe it? If you're judging me on my race, it's racist. If you're judging me, we're not judging or stereotyping. Saying, yeah. So it's not sexist. It's not sexist. It's just an interesting conversation about thinking about the whys, I guess. So it stimulates the why and the hows. So it's a good process. But yeah, it's not sexist. Here we go. So the naming of someone being sexist, it's not. So now that we get to the point of, is it a problem? Well, maybe I'm from a different perception again, because I'm a male. And as I said, I have a daughter that doesn't have my last name. So I'm a reasonable one to judge it. It makes no difference. Well, that's not true, actually. It does make a difference. The only difference I've sensed, or I've found with myself, is it's just easier to explain when you all have the last name. When you don't have the last name, same last name, and that's your child, and you're a man saying it, now there's an explanation required. And the same with my wife, right? We used to walk around, oh, that's my mom, that's my wife, oh, that's my partner. Oh, so you say partner versus you say wife. If they're introduced as their first and last name. So it just makes it a little bit more easier to explain to others. How do you say this? I did say it was better. I didn't say it made no difference. I did say that, but it was better. I don't know if that was an ego thing, though. It might be my ego that you got my last name. So, especially when I say, if I have your last, I won't take your last name. It should, logically, there should be no difference. I should be just as okay with it. Yet my wife, according to her, really likes to have my last name. She mucked around doing it. She didn't have to. Because I know friends of mine that haven't changed their last name. My daughter actually got married and she didn't change her last name to his name. She kept my last name. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Then we so we got the sexist. So what is sexist? Because that's not sexist. We got woman's work, do the jobs around the house, vacuuming, washing, cooking. That's being sexist. Stereotyping that that's a woman. Yes, it is. Am I sexist in that? I was also I'm chauvinistic, or a womanizer. Womanizing, maybe. I don't know. It's just it's actually that's what my wife does. She does other things. She works and does other things, but she does the washing. She makes the beds. So all I've done is identify that's what she does. So how is that sexist? And how is that womanizing? You know?